So let's take a look at another example to show how the measure works as opposed to the calculated column. All right. So click on the blank area of this report page, and I'm going to introduce another line chart up here. And this line chart is going to be a closing price for each quarter. Okay. So we are going to have, again, I'm going to use the data table. This date dimension table, I'm going to use the year quarter as the x-axis. All right. And again, I'm going to introduce the calculated column, adjusted close, into the y-axis. And I'm going to take the minimum instead of a sum. All right. Again, it's going to be a flat line because in this case, we're working on this calculated column. So this calculated column always takes the adjusted close price on the last trading day of this entire data sample. Okay, so it's going to be flat across different dates because on each date we're just retrieving the closing price on the last trading day of the data sample. Okay. However, if we introduce this measure adjusted close into the zero, it's going to be very different. So I'll drag it and drop it here. So now we have a changing closing price for each quarter. All right. Again, we have already learned these two things, the measure and the calculated column, they share the same DAX code definition. They are only different in terms of their what they call the property. Okay, one is a measure, the other is a calculated column. So when we are working on the measure in a zero, in a graph or in a chart, okay, those things are called zero. When we are working on a zero, the measure is gonna use the future context in that zero to work on the data set it's supposed to work on. All right. So again, in this zero, we have different quarters on the x-axis. So when we are at the first point on this axis, on this x-axis, which is the first quarter of 2023, then in this measure, the index function is only going to work on a subset of this historical daily data set, because as a measure, it's supposed to apply the future context first on the original data set before it start to calculating the value. So the future context, which is the quarter 1 2023, is going to be applied to this original data set such that this measure is only going to work on data related to the first quarter of year 2023 in the historical daily data set. In this case, the index function is going to only return the last trading day on the first quarter, the last trading day in the first quarter of 2023. And then it's going to return the adjusted close price for that day, which is the adjusted close on the last trading day in the first quarter of 2023. Okay. So next, again, in the zero, we're going to move across different data periods. So the next data period is going to be quarter 2 2023. So when the measure works on this particular point in this zero, it's going to apply this quarter 2 2023 as a future context to the original data. So instead of working on the entire data set of this historical daily data table, the index function is only going to work on a future data set, applying the quarter 2 2023 filter on this historical daily table. After filtering, index function is going to retrieve the last trading day for this second quarter of 2023. So again, the adjusted close you see on this particular point is going to be the adjusted close on the last trading day of quarter 2 2023. Because again, the future context is going to be applied to the original data before the measure starts to calculating the value, right? So this logic basically applies to each data point on this zero. So for any particular point, the the measure is going to first apply the future context to the original data set. So when we are looking at this point, the future context will be Q2 2024. So this future context will be applied to the original data set. After the original data is being filtered, we are only left with data associated with Q2 2024. Okay, then the index function is gonna work on this future data set, which have data only related to Q2 2024. So the index function is only going to return the last trading day of Q2 2024. And eventually, this measure is basically calculating the adjusted close price on the last trading day of Q2 2024. All right. So that explains why we have different adjusted close for different quarters on this zero. Okay. So this is a very powerful thing the measure can offer. Right. If you have this future context, you can build a zero which have different time periods, and the measure is going to use only data related to each particular time period on that zero to show you the value related to that particular data point or that particular data period. Okay.